Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry, I have a mouthful of food. I'm so hungry. But today is a healing vlog. I have some other content coming out for y'all too, but I wanted to just kind of pause and make this video real quick because I feel like these weekly vlogs are important. And I have a lot of thoughts on my mind that I want to share. So we're just going to kind of free flow and talk. If you're new here, my name is Jessica. And I'm a really cool person. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm very random. I love long walks on the beach. I love games. I am probably one of the coolest but strangest people you will ever meet. I'm also an actor, if you care about that. I make films, I screenwrite, I make content. Anything that has to do with the visual arts on the moving pictures. That's what I do. So, what I want to talk about today specifically is the concept of being the bad guy in your environment. For me, when I was younger, I've talked about it a lot. Like, I used to get bullied all the time for stupid stuff. Now, mind you, I'm human, so I probably did little bratty things too, but I was bullied a lot. Made fun of incessantly. I had a lot of weird things kind of happened with my parents, my family. I just always felt like I never fit in, which sucks. And as I got older, I made some choices into some relationships that were not the best. One of which was really, really bad and abusive. And I was physically harmed, emotionally, everything. It was bad, y'all. I don't even fully think I realized sometimes how bad it was. And I feel like I've sort of like put it into a different part of my brain. It's only once I tell people about it, they're like, what? It's bad. But I think that what happens at a point sometimes, and I talked about this before, I think I talked about this in the last video, is when you become the bad guy. And you don't always have to become the bad guy. That doesn't have to be your story. But for me, I found that recently a lot of things that I was going through may have been more of my fault than I realized. And I'm going to explain how. Because I think it'll be helpful for somebody out there. And I know it'll be helpful for me to talk about it. So, I moved in with somebody from my past, right? Pause. I'll be right back. It was right after I had sort of moved on from a lot of things. I got into a new relationship with a different person. It didn't work out. It didn't get very far at all. Nobody even knows that I was with this person. That's how far it didn't get. And made a choice to move in with somebody. And I was so afraid of them hurting me again in the ways that they did. I don't think I fully thought out the full intensity of how bad things that happened with us hurt, that I then began to sabotage in a way that basically set up the environment to be as toxic as possible. But the thing about it is that there were still things that I did not like presently. And I think that the more constructive thing for me to do in that situation would have been to be like, all right, so moving on from the past, because the past is the past, if I'm making the decision to try and be with you again, and you claim to be this new, brand new person, and me, a totally different person as well, healing, let me focus on it, because there were some things still presently that I was like, that's not gonna work. And there were a few in general that I just was like, why is this still a thing? Like, and it honestly kind of felt like a slap in the face, because it's like, I went through a lot with you. You claim to acknowledge it, and then like fast forward to now, you're still associating with this particular person or thing that was like one of the biggest causes of upheaval in our situation. Like, if you're that serious about me to where you're chasing me to the ends of the earth to get back with me, why are you so that's, but I'm saying all this to say, like, that may have been a more constructive argument than what I chose. And I'm laughing because it's just like, it's giving very much. Okay, here's the analogy. So the analogy is somebody gets chased and stung by a bunch of bees, right? And it's the most painful thing in the world. They're just covered in all these webs. Eventually they heal. They heal, but they still have these scars, and maybe one or two of them are still like a little pussy and open. So the bees no longer exist. The bees are gone, right? But they still feel the wounds. They still feel the cuts. They still feel whatever. Now, let's say that they happen to get stung by these bees in a park. So they're like, oh my God, I'm never going to parks again because the last time I went to a park, it had bees. So let's say they go to a park and the sun is shining so bright, it kind of burns, but it's actually helping to heal the wounds. I don't even know if this is making sense. Basically, it's like if you've been through something before, it heals, it completely goes away. The external factors that harmed you are gone, but you still are living with the trauma of what happened. So any situation that reminds you of that past situation, or if the surroundings or same person or whatever comes back, healed, whatever, it can be a little bit traumatizing to be around them again. You will not fully know if you're healed from a situation until you get right back in front of that person, place, or thing. Now, sometimes your healing requires you to completely remove it. In this case, that may have been a better option, to be like, you know what, I appreciate that this has circled back around into my life, but because of what I experienced, I'm going to have to say no and keep up a boundary. But sometimes we take a leap and say, you know what, I'm going to do this. But then also, I think sometimes we're afraid, because my other option would have been to continue on the journey I was on, which was very alone, very sort of aloof. You know, the home I moved away, the home I previously had was gone, so I just was kind of like floating and nervous, and I'd never done that before. And coming from an abusive relationship before that, and then a not so great relationship after that, it's like I just felt overwhelmed. So I think that played into it as well, because that person was a sense of like comfort and normalcy, but different enough to where like my standards were now like up here, and they seem to be matching that. So it was great. So I think this is a message for somebody out there. If you're in a moment of change, don't take the easy route, because there's no plan B. And this is a message for Jessica too. I don't care how scared you are, how unfamiliar things are. If something from the past comes back, even if it is wrapped in a big, shiny, pretty package, it is okay to gracefully and lovingly look at it and say, yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that you are now coming to me with all of this love, but I'm going to continue down this new road because this is something different I've never experienced. If you don't try all the flavors in life, how will you know what you like? If you say, oh my God, I love chocolate. I had a bad experience with chocolate one time, but I love chocolate. And I've been out here trying all these new flavors, and these new flavors just been like burning my tongue, and they've been scary, and it's just, I don't even know. And then chocolate comes along and it's like, oh, but you could have me. It's like, yeah, but if I keep having you, I'm not going to be able to try the other flavors. You know, so I think the point is don't be afraid to try new flavors, new things, new journeys. Don't be scared. It's one decision that could change your entire life and change everything. And I think it feels so scary sometimes for us to heal and not be in trauma. And I think that's what happened with me. I think that I just felt so afraid to be okay. And I just refused to believe that this person that I dated before could be a good guy now. I just refused, and I thought about what would everybody say, what would they think. Like, I've glowed up, as they say. I had a glow up, as they say. And it's like, how do you go from that to, oh, but I'm dealing with so-and-so again? And then I started to realize too, like, it doesn't matter what everybody thinks, but I think you're more so worried about looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, you're back with this person after all that. You cool with that? Because sometimes also, no matter how much you heal, you will forever look at that person and remember that certain things you just don't forget. They just become part of your muscle memory. Sometimes it's really bad to re-enter situations without giving yourself and having a conversation with yourself and saying, listen, this is what happened in the past. Now that is the past. So if I choose to deal with them again, it is the past. But I need to acknowledge that I'm human and that things may come up and that I may look at them, or an argument, something may trigger me. Sometimes it's just best not to go back. So I'm saying this to say, We all got some decisions to make in life, and we all got some relationships that may have come back around. We may have some friendships that would come back around, some family, and they may seem to have changed. But I need you to ask yourself, is that what you really want? Is that what's best? Or do you need something new? Because sometimes you get the fucking blessing of it coming back around and they mean that they are changed, but your heart is not in it anymore, and you're just like, oh my God, I want something different. So instead of just admitting that, like, hey, I love you, I'm so thankful for you, but I no longer am connected to you. Maybe it was trauma that was connecting y'all, and that trauma is healed. So maybe like you creating drama or looking for something to bring up old stuff is trying to, like, you know, make like it's really your soul saying, baby, that period is over, that time is over. So that's what I want to talk about today. This is the most like detailed and honest I've been in a vlog like this in a long time, and I haven't really talked to anybody about it. So yeah, if you know, you know. I hope this is helpful, because I know that I really want to see a change in myself where I'm not afraid to take leaps and have boundaries and express myself and not be afraid to say, hey, I think I want something different this time, without causing chaos and manipulating people and trying to be the victim. And we don't do those things on purpose, but it's all defense mechanisms, because we're so used to just getting hurt, especially if it's somebody that hurt you before. It's understandable if you just look at them and be like, I can't do this, because every time I look at you, you're so sweet, but I just cannot. And then you may have just changed. You might be a whole different person. So if you want to see more vlogs like this, comment below, because we can talk. Yeah, and that's gonna be it for this one, I think. I don't know, what do y'all think? We can talk more about it. I could do a part 2, but yeah, I am definitely glad to be making these, and just, yeah, happy and satisfied that I can sit here and talk and vent and just say, don't be afraid. And yes, sometimes you can be the bad guy. Sometimes you can be the crazy, and literally you could be like, oh, woe is me, life is so bad, but it's really just you are the drama, because you need to just let go. Just tell that person, just say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Or let go of that job. You know, maybe the job came back and offered you more money, but you're like, I don't even like to do this anymore. It's hard and it's scary. Cry if you need to. Oh my God, go listen to Drake. So cry if you need to. Like, literally go cry if you need to. Like, I also think that just feed into those feelings. If you need to, write it down. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.